Welcome back to the Healthy Profits Podcast. It is Sammy Shoebox Moses here today with one of my favorite topics, artificial intelligence. Let's be honest, one of the biggest problems that people are having right now is the authentic use of this intelligence and this technology or tool, whatever you want to call it, in being authentic and creating content for really anything, podcasts specifically. And now that you guys understand the challenge that we run into, you guys get this more than most, especially in the health and wellness space. You cannot just use Chat GPT to help you create episodes and content. It just doesn't work like that. You can't pull up medical advice and stories and just make them up and then have that populated from ChatGPT or Claude or whichever AI you're using. And this happens a lot, is people are just using this on the surface and not using the tools properly. And then they don't know exactly how to use them to their maximum capacity. So today, what I want to do is really help you guys see around the corners with using artificial intelligence or ChatGPT or Claude or Prompt Perfect or a number of these different types of AI stacks that we have. And I'm going to introduce you to a few of them. But more importantly, I'm just going to help you guys understand the framework on what we do when we use a lot of the AI tools to help all of our clients craft their shows, market their shows, create content for their shows that are real and genuine, but also have fun with just doing what would normally take months, weeks, or years to do in a collapsed time frame. The name of the game of this is speed. And one of my favorite examples of this working in such a grand way was when I was consulting, and I still get to work with Dr. Pedram Shojai. I actually don't know if he's a doctor, but Pedram Shojai is the urban monk. He is an absolute gangster in the world of podcasting, and his platform, the Urban Monk, is one of my favorites. It's a practical guide. It's a practical platform to help you learn how to live a balanced life in a fast-paced world, but how to live a balanced life with your habits, with your eating, your mindfulness, all of the things that we take for granted. He, as a monk, really learned to embody, and he turned that into a business called the Urban Monk and coupled that with his professional acumen, his love of storytelling. He's an incredible movie maker. I mean, he's just an all-around Renaissance man, but he turned his company, the Urban Monk, into just a force to be reckoned with, and came to me and our team when he was stuck with the podcast because he didn't know what to do next. So his podcast had been running for quite some time, and he didn't know how to create the next episode. He's like, I don't even understand this podcast landscape anymore. Can you help me out? So what we did is we went in there and we started peeling back all of the episodes that he had. I think he has close to 200 or so episodes. So you can imagine, as I'm going through, and this is one of the first things I was able to do with the technologies, I was able to take almost all of his books, all of the things that he had created, and 7 or 8 months ago, this didn't seem like a good idea. But now, fast forward, it is now March of 2024. You can upload content and it is safe. And what I did is I took all of his content and I put it into Chat GPT 4 and I created him a bot. And this was an incredible way for me to distill down all his information. Now, that was kind of an advanced move. You don't have to go in and make a bot for somebody. And that's a pretty easy thing to do. If you have Chat GPT 4, you can make bots. However, the best thing you can do if you're not at that level, which many of us are not, all you need to do is use Chat GPT to study some of the content that you've done, to distill down many of the things that you're already trying to dissect or to find more content. You're trying to go in and you're really working to find how to, the word I'm searching for is to research. When you're researching topics and you're really trying to figure out, what am I going to talk about? ChatGPT is going to be one of your best friends in researching those topics. Right now in ChatGPT 4, it will even cite the sources that it's finding things from. So you don't have to feel like it's just making things up. It's actually linking sources that you are citing and looking for. ChatGPT 4 is $20 a month. And if you have not paid for that, absolutely do it. When I was using the first free version, I was worried it was going to be like $500 and I would have to pay that because this tool is that powerful. So going back to Pedram, what I was able to do in a short condensed version was take all his content and create multiple stories, multiple episodes, and multiple different types of content from all of the stuff that he had already produced. So that is one way. If you have a ton of content already, you can upload that into ChatGPT 4 and create a ton of amazing episodes. If you don't have a lot of content, you can also research some of your favorite doctors or your favorite health and wellness practitioners or gurus, for lack of a better term. Find out what they're teaching and turn that into your voice and your style, teaching on your expertise. And the great thing about using these tools right now is that it's easier than ever before to get in and just start prompt engineering and learning how to do that. One of the things that we love to use at the Evolve Podcasting company is frameworks. We love frameworks. We put everything in a framework. And so one of the frameworks that we like to use is the Hollywood Director and the Explain It Like I'm 5. Those two little frameworks on how to prompt and how to coach ChatGPT to create content are the two biggest things we love to use. And so when it comes to being a Hollywood director, that just means coaching ChatGPT to explain things and to do things in a better way. An example of this would be like, act as my Hollywood director and help me create a story arc for Pedram Shojai's show, The Urban Monk, where we help people make a transformation into mindful living in a chaotic world. That's like a super vague type of prompt, but it will do that. And then as that first prompt comes, you can say, cool, act as my Hollywood director and distill that down and give me an example or a theoretical story that I can embed into this explanation of how to live mindfully. And you can just keep going down. And what happens is it will pump out those ideas. It'll pump out those really cool story narratives. And then you'll notice it gets a little lengthy and it gets a little convoluted and a little complex. And then you can use the Explain It Like I'm 5. And if you insert that framework, it will distill it down into a way that's bite-sizable and easily accessible. And we say 5, but if you can explain it to a 5 to a 10-year-old, then your content has a much bigger opportunity to be absorbed and accepted by mainstream media, by your audience. And in this space, you can probably say, explain it like I'm 15 or 19, because health and wellness is a little bit more mature than a lot of the audiences. But regardless, using those two frameworks to create content and to really help explain what you might have a problem really explaining is going to be really, really helpful. So what we also did with Pedram is we used ChatGPT to get creative on how to connect with his audience. And we used a number of different prompts to go in and find out what his audience really wanted. And one really cool thing they needed was some really good explanations on how do we serve you better. So we wanted to figure out a simple form, a simple survey that we could ask that audience to find out whether or not the shows were really good. And so we came up with some incredible questions using ChatGPT that we could ask his audience. One of those questions that we still use to this day was, what do you love about the show and what could we do more of? And that question, in lines of questions like that, were some of the most powerful the intel that we got from his audience. So what did you love about the show and what can we do more of? Really was a question that we created with ChatGPT, and we used that to really story arc and create some of the most compelling content for him because we got such good feedback from people. And that was what was amazing. Now, I'm talking about prompt engineering using different types of AI to really distill down and to create new episodes. But what if you're not a good prompt engineer, which a lot of us aren't? And a prompt engineer is just a fancy way of saying or asking good questions. How do I ask good questions is a really simple way to be or to explain what prompt engineering is. Because the better the questions, the better the answers. So the tool that I'm about to explain to you is going to really help you accelerate what took me almost 8 months to get really good at, which was asking amazing questions. The tool that I'll put in the notes here is called Prompt Perfect. And Prompt Perfect is an auto tuning tool and device and software that you can use to make your prompts that much better. So when you're creating content, when you're figuring out a marketing strategy, when you're trying to dial in how to get to your audience, how to expand your reach, or how to write better narrative, using this tool is going to accelerate how good you are at asking those questions by 100-fold. So Prompt Perfect is the link that I just put in the show notes, and that is going to really help you figure out how to become a much better prompt engineer. The cool thing about all of these tools, we're in this intersection right now of where people were the companies that are releasing AI and generative AI tools and software, they are at this massive competitive edge where it is a race to see who has the best tool. So there has never been a better time in history to be in a space of embodying the technology of AI because everyone wants you to use theirs and they're going to let you use it for free. But you just need to know how to use those. So I believe with Chat GPT and Prompt Perfect, you're going to be able to unlock so many ideas. So here's some of the ideas that I love to use Chat GPT and Prompt Perfect for, specifically in health and wellness podcasting. One is going to be creating content rich ideas for your show. Two is going to be helping you to create a very unique marketing strategy to help get to the new audience. And then three is to help organize and keep the people that I'm researching in one database so that I can find new ideas and new visions and learn about them faster than I ever could. So you can almost go in and use one tool to learn 30 days of or a month's worth of knowledge in 30 minutes. So I love using that to create content, to market the content, and to research my competition. Those are two of my favorite things to do with ChatGPT and using Prompt Perfect, which if you go to the notes right now, you're going to see that link. We're not affiliated with them at all, but that is one of the best tools to use if you want to accelerate your ability to be a prompt engineer. And I know we've kind of packed a lot into this short little episode, but those are the two biggest takeaways. I encourage you to really embrace the change with Chat GPT, artificial intelligence. If you have any questions on how to do that or what to do with your podcast, our main vision for you here on our show is to help you get your podcast monetizing. And what better way than to do that with ChatGPT? Asking what are some of the best ways I could take my current podcast blank and learn to monetize it, specifically with what products, specifically with what partnerships, and specifically using our pyramid of monetization that we've taught you before. What products could I make and what giveaways could I do? See how easy it is? You can create those things and learn to stack all those together. So hopefully that helps you guys with some really simple ideas. Again, check out our boy Pedram Shojai, the urban monk, for some really cool ideas on what he's done with his products. Also, make sure that you grab that Prompt Perfect link. Get practicing on your prompt engineering. This will help accelerate that and enjoy. And I challenge you, I'd love to hear in the comments or in the feedback on the Spotify link if you want. Spotify has the best way to leave comments, or on Apple if you want to leave us a review. We'd love that. But let us know, what did you do to create more content from your existing podcast? What did you figure out about yourself that you could do with AI with your current podcast and your health and wellness, your content, right? Or your company? Using those tools is something that our company does every day. And I know that you're going to find so much value from just those simple tools. I think we're going to probably do 3 or 4 more episodes on ones that I use to really create clips from all of our episodes, how to edit faster with our episodes and do that. But I'll leave that for another episode. In this one, check out Prompt Perfect, get the Chat GPT paid version, and watch your productivity and your creativity skyrocket. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining us on the Healthy Profits Podcast, and we'll talk to you soon. Healthy Podcasting. Now that was a great episode. Thanks for joining us and tuning in to the Healthy Profits Podcast.
Sammy and I are here to help you turn your health podcast into a treasure trove of opportunity for your listeners and your business. So join us twice a week as we unleash our favorite tips and strategies that have helped our clients at Evolve Podcasting turn their show into a thriving part of their business.
And make sure you subscribe and listen in as each episode builds upon each other. And I know that you're a generous leader, so make sure you share this podcast with your fellow wellness entrepreneurs so we can all grow together.
Until next time, stay healthy and keep thriving.
Bye.
Bye.